Hell yeah, well-timed musical hit. Hello, Parser people. Happy Tuesday. Happy Text Adventure Tuesday. It has been a minute since we've done Text Adventure Tuesday, and I'm excited. I'm really excited to do what we have tonight. So this is frankly all thanks. Oh my gosh. Hello, Soldier or Soldier Geek. How are you tonight? But yeah, I'm super excited for what we have tonight, because this is like 3 or 4 different things that I've wanted to that I've really wanted to get into with Text Adventure Tuesday. So one of the biggest things is that Text Adventures, in sort of the American and UK sense, is extremely English focused. Text adventures, of course, like typically mean like Infocom or magnetic scrolls or like curses or something like that. And the nature of a parser is like really challenging for other languages in a way that I think is something that I really wish could go heck yeah, like a Mind Forever Voyaging. I actually played through all of a Mind Forever Voyaging badly. I'd add. But if you want to see that, that's in the Twitch VODs, or if you want one with timestamps, I think I timestamped that one. It's on YouTube. Yeah. So I really like older games. I think there's a lot to learn from them. I particularly love enthusiast developers from that era, so like Quill Games. But a lot of this is very English focused. And I think that's super cool. I think that's necessary to a degree. I only speak English. I might joke about being able to speak other languages, but absolutely cannot. So a lot of what's out there for other languages is gatekept sort of from the people who are like most obsessed about this. I think a really great example is all the Eastern European games that people have found. There's multiple text adventures in various Eastern European languages. If you want a more graphic adventure example, there's oh my gosh, Donkey Island, which is Eastern European, which amazing person, M. Zizzy, and other amazing person, Sonneveld, were really important in translating and working through some old bugs to get an English translation of. But what we're gonna do today is, at least to start, is something that I have to give a shout out to RetroPals for letting me know that this was even possible. RetroPals are very cool. They're on vacation this week. but they play all sorts of games. They like to find weird games. And they did last week, they did one of their streams, which was fan translations and new fan translations. So stuff that if you didn't speak Japanese, especially, you would never get to play. And one of those games was a genre that is, I think, exclusive to Japan. Japan had its own Parser games. Most of them were in English. Japan also had its graphical adventures, which you could argue led to visual novels, although I think they're different paths. What this is what's called a sound novel, which, from what I understand, was originated with this title, Otogirisou. And this company, Chunsoft, is pretty much the main creator of these sound novels. They have put out sound novels up till the, I think, Wii era. They have put out games. So yeah, 428 Shibuya Scramble was originally put out for the Wii and was eventually ported to the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable. And PlayStation 4 and iOS and a Windows version. So I might play it later because there is an English translation of that. But they have made these sound novels since the SNES era. One of the things that I find really, really interesting about this, and I'm stoked to be playing an SNES game, simply because I don't think you think about, like, interactive fiction, however you want to define that. Even with visual novels and things like that, I don't think you think about, like, the SNES. You might think about PC 98, PC 88, even earlier, different sort of Japanese PC systems, what I would call microcomputers. I don't even know if they would call it that. Those, I think, have visual novels on point. I think there's a lot of different genres there. But let me switch over to the gameplay screen just to have something. Look at that beautiful snow. But I don't think, and I think the vast majority of people don't think about the SNES as a place where you find interactive fiction. So before we get into this, I want to talk about the author of this. The author of this game is Koichi Nakamura. He is, based on what I'm reading, one of the most important developers for a little while. He's the main director and programmer of Dragon Quest. He worked on Portopia Serial Murder Case, one of those graphic adventures that I talked about. He also worked on Mystery Dungeon, which I another one of those fundamental games that everybody talks about. And it's wild to me that this person who is so steeped in not like necessarily storytelling, I would argue that there's story throughout at least Portopia Serial Murder Case, Dragon Quest, but not in the same sense that maybe you would think of with I don't know, Snatcher or something like that. On the other hand, this is sort of his baby. This game, Otogirisou, was the first game that he wrote for his own company rather than for Enix. Speaking of the TRS-80, he specifically wrote for the TRS-80 earlier, but this idea of a sound novel is specific to what I think he really wanted to do with telling stories. These, as opposed to visual novels, are not very character portrait driven. These are more text driven, and that kind of goes back to the challenge that it is to translate this stuff. So I want to give shout outs to both the translator. Oops. There you go. Translation that I have is from Joe over at translated.games. And I specifically used a package from CD Romance because console emulation is a mystery to me, and I don't know it very well. But yeah, this I'm really excited for because most of all, something we're not going to be able to see on stream, and that's the fact that this is based on playing it multiple times. The manual itself says, hey, you're not going to get all of the story if you play it once. I think, depending on how long it takes, I think we're going to only play it once today, and then we'll come back and play some other stuff. Either play it through again, or I've got some B-sides if it's super short, but I don't think it is. Why don't we start really quick and take a look at the translated manual. I took a look at the non-translated manual as best as I could anyway, and cool. And I just think that it's kind of nifty to take a look at the manual, see what they really want with it, and we can sort of get a good vibe on it. So let's, oh gosh. Oh no, there we go. That's how we can expand this. There we go. That looks classy. Yeah, so this is named after the Hypericum perforatum, which is a specific flower. Otogirisou is how to say that flower in Japanese. I think that's neat. I really love this sort of old school. Well, first off, we have this sound novel branding. Again, that's specific to Chunsoft. Pretty much nobody else created sound novels. I find this really, really similar to like some of the text adventures that people did where they had like a very specific name for what they were doing, but that's also because like they were doing something specific. I think of some of Broderbund's games that were really, really focused on being literature before being a game, even if they were parser games. So this is also to differentiate it from a visual novel, to put a focus on the fact that it's sort of like a novel, like maybe and I don't know these very well, but like a light novel, something easy to read, but not like the kinds of things that I think a lot of people might have expected. So there's typical stuff. I just love these pictures. So what is a sound novel? And they actually like describe it for us. A sound novel is a new world in the Super Famicom software library, brought to you by Chunsoft. As the name suggests, it's novel with sounds added. Power it on and start reading. Just as you might read one of your favorite books. So let's explain how this game is different from an ordinary novel. Let's make this a little skinnier. There we go. The first thing would have to be the background graphics showing events in the story. Among these are what could be described as moving illustrations that tie the tale together using various effects. Of course, these screens make full use of the Super Famicom's hardware with some realistic animations. We hope that they will inspire your imagination and that they help to bring the story to life. And there's something else that adds to the atmosphere: the sound. The Super Famicom hardware provides a vast library of sounds, which allows for impressive sound effects and BGM to really give you a sense of presence. Doors creak open, footsteps can be heard coming closer and closer, and even screams have been sampled and reproduced in stereo. This is what provided the inspiration for the name sound novel. Unlike ordinary novels, this story branches out, allowing for more depth to be added to the tale. At times, you'll have to make decisions that will greatly impact how the story plays out. There are no wrong answers, but even so, a careless move may lead to horrifying results. Your choices don't just impact the events of the story, by the way. There's more than one ending, after all. You can play through it as many times as you'd like to see all the different endings. There's an autosave system in place, so you can just focus on reading without worrying about passwords or save commands. Your game will be saved as you play automatically at the last page you've read. Even if the power gets switched off accidentally, rest assured that you'll be able to resume reading from where you were. So that really lays out like what this is. It's got branching paths. It's got audio. It's got some sort of like scenery in the background. But it's like an impressionistic setup. I really love that. I really love like the whole vibe that it's going for. So yeah, there's a plot summary here. It's a real planet, St. John's Wort. So I love too that even though like the US and the UK kind of like authorship side is very solo developer, I love that there's another writer here. It's Shukei Nagasaka. And it's so interesting to me that they come to this in such a way that it's like, hey, here's this author, here's this writer. It's separate from me, the game developer. I just think that that's really cool. This will not matter to me because I'm using keyboard. We can advance text with A. We can make choices. We can confirm choices. We can hit back. That's good to know. X and Y. So it should be A, B, X, Y, hopefully. Cool. And just for some credits, we have Tom, we have DDS, we have new title graphics by Flash PF, we have some manual editing by Almendrita. Thank you to everybody for making this like even possible. I think it's really cool to be able to share this. This is a monumental effort. You know, any fan translation is extremely difficult. I think this one is even more because it is solely text-based, and if you read some of the like bits and pieces from the translators, there's sections that don't make sense if you just translate the words. Just from a gameplay perspective, because all of the gameplay is just words. So I find all of that like deeply intriguing in sort of a way I'd love to see more. And so this last part is the multi-scenario system, which basically is saying, please don't be satisfied with seeing only one ending. The multi-scenario system means that as you make your way through the game multiple times, you can expand the range of possible choices available to you. So, first attempt, you'll only see options A and B at a select screen. After you beat the game, you might see 3 or maybe 4 options. Not every selection screen will have options added, but the more you play, the more options you'll unlock. So, if you want to play this all the way through, you get the opportunity to do so, and there's a benefit to playing it multiple times, to exploring your options in a way that I find really intriguing. One of the things I genuinely don't love about Parser games is that once you play it, you're done. You've beaten all the puzzles, what have you. I'm curious how they bring in sort of that puzzle mindset. Like what is the real gameplay element here? But I don't want to overthink it. And this is just a translation of the box, which I think is kind of nifty. Translation of the Famicom cartridge. All very nifty. I really appreciate all the effort that they went into to create an English language experience. So I don't know. Let's get to the game itself. So this game has, of course, its own music. So we don't need Spotify at all. Goodbye. What we do need is to load the game. that's a little loud. Sorry for all the little things. Just getting all the little parts set up. Yeah, no. All the hard parts. Okay. So this is Otogirisou, Hypericum perforatum. It's the English version. We're not going to try and play this like particularly fast. We're not going to try and like do anything on that side of things. It really is to play this in such a way that hopefully... Oh gosh. Oh no, it's so large. That's unfortunate. Okay, we'll just play it at small. Hopefully to just see what this game is like. I don't know. I really am coming into this with such little knowledge and such little like expectations. I'm pretty stoked for it. So just to be clear, I'm using SNES to do this. And again, like I think about this when it comes to translation and things like that. Like they even changed this input screen like significantly. In the Japanese version of the manual, there's a whole extra page that explains exactly where all of, I think, the katakana is for names and things like that. I found that interesting. So that summer evening, I'd been driving down this narrow and winding mountain road with clouds looming in the sky above. Both sides of the road were lined by a thicket of trees, so the scenery wasn't exactly great. Nami sat next to me, not saying anything at all. Maybe she got tired from playing tennis for so long, and she ended up falling asleep. So this is the main way that we interact. We have multiple choices. And I don't know how it tracks the sort of background variables. This is all way before, you know, if this were a modern game, we might be able to like try and figure out, maybe they're using like state variables, maybe they're using like some kind of specific methodology. There's some really, really great work that, of course, Emily Short's done, and just in general in the interactive fiction and adventure game communities. But we have two choices here. I'm gonna be nice. Are you sleeping, Nami? I called out to her gently. Nami opened her eyes softly. It took her a while to snap out of her dream, but when she noticed me sitting beside her, she smiled. No. I was just closing my eyes, that's all. Despite what she said, I was certain she'd been asleep. Sorry I disturbed you then. It's okay. You can go ahead and sleep. No, I should be apologizing to you. You're the one who's been driving this whole time, after all. Now I was just bored since the radio doesn't work way up here in the mountains. Nami looked out the window. Hey, Berkey? What? What's the name of those flowers, I wonder? I noticed them earlier. There's a big stretch of yellow flowers beside the road that had long, thin stems and elliptical leaves. They go by a few names: Hypericum, St. John's wort, or Otogirisou. Spelled out, that's brother cut flowers. Otogirisou? Yeah. There's a weird story about those flowers. I thought I'd tell it to Nami to make the drive a little interesting. So, either I could embellish the story or I can make it a little spooky. Let's make it a little spooky. If you shine a light through those elliptical leaves, you can see a bunch of black spots on them. Those are the blood of a young man who was cut down by his older brother after some bad blood between them. The spots are the younger brother's blood? It was back in the Heian era, somewhere between the year 794 and 1185. There were two brothers. They were falconers. They'd passed down a secret medicine in their family for generations. It was used to treat falcons' wounds, but the secret got out. The younger brother had told his girlfriend, and the older brother was furious. Nami held her breath, knowing what was coming. He took a katana and lopped off his brother's head. Thwack! Nami flinched. The spray of blood hit the leaves, and after that, they called the Hypericum flowers Otogirisou, the brother-cut flowers. That really happened? Struck by the falling rain, the Hypericums bobbed up and down. It looked like they were nodding yes. What a sad story. I can't believe he'd kill his own brother over that. I saw that tears had come to her eyes. Nami, an only child, was easily moved to tears by any story that was remotely emotional. I began to wonder, or I thought I'd change the subject. Let's stick with sticking internal. I began to wonder if I'd taken it a little too far. Suddenly, Nami started looking around. Hey, Ferky, are we lost? Now that she mentioned it, I did feel like something wasn't right. I started to feel uneasy. No, we're gonna take the scenic route. Well, hey, just think of it as taking the scenic route. I put on a strong front. I flipped on the windshield wipers. It was getting pretty dark out. There weren't any lights on this road, and it was narrow. It wasn't easy to see which way the road would turn. When I turned on the headlights, I could tell that there was a sign up ahead, but I couldn't see it well enough to read it. I sped up a little and got closer to the sign. Curve ahead. Slow down. That's what was written on the sign. Looking ahead, there was a downward slope that curved to the right. I lightly stepped on the brake, but my foot felt no resistance against the brake pedal. I ended up pushing it all the way down to the floor of the car. Huh? I stepped on the brake 2 or 3 times, but the pedal just tapped to the floor. There was no response, and the car kept gradually picking up speed on the downward slope. The brakes aren't working. Rain was striking the car's windshield furiously. I could see the sign zip right past the side of the car window at high speed and vanish from sight. Look! Just ahead! Nami thrust her finger forward and raised her voice. The curve was now right in front of us. I hurried to cut the clutch and drop into a lower gear. My body pitched forward and the seatbelt dug into me. When I looked up, I could see the mountain slope coming closer and closer. I took my left hand off the lever and turned the steering wheel sharply to the right. Ah! Nami's scream was piercing. I managed to avoid crashing the car, but at the next corner, another car was driving towards us. No! We're gonna crash! So do I pull the parking brake, or do I try bumping into the trees? Or do I just hope for the best? No, pull the parking brake. I pulled the parking brake. I could feel the back of the car swerve. The car had gone off the road and to the right, straight into some tall, thick grass. I'll take that. The car that had been coming our way had veered left and honked as it zoomed along, out of sight. Whew! The tension left my body, and I slumped back against the seat. My whole body was covered in sweat. Looking at the passenger seat, I saw that Nami was holding her head down. Are you okay? I thought we were dead. Same here. I could see beads of sweat on Nami's forehead, too. Do we care about her? No, let's not care about her. I took a look around. I could see a bit of light on the other side of the grassy field. Is that a house, you think? In a place like this? We got out of the car. Oh. Huh? It seemed like the light started moving. Cut that out. There's a window, right? But I mean, just now. Kind of went swoosh. To the side. We decided to take a look through the forest. Cool. Nami covered her ears and squatted down. I gasped and watched the giant tree fall. The cedar tree had split in two and it was smoldering, pushing black smoke up into the air. Below it, my car had been smashed beyond repair. How? It's as flat as a pancake, huh? Well, at least we're both alive. We should get going. We can't just stand around here after all. We fished out a bag with an extra set of clothes that we packed and a flashlight and started walking towards what seemed like the light of a house. Hey, what if it's not a house? Nami seemed really scared. Maybe the lightning really shocked her. So... No. We're gonna run this not caring about Nami. I quickened my pace to hurry up and find out where the light was coming from. Come on, follow my lead. One second while I edit some stuff. There we go. I went ahead of Nami. Oh. Behind me, Nami had stopped dead in her tracks. What's wrong? These flowers. Look at all of them. I shined the flashlight around and all I could see were hypericums. There are so many of them. What are you so afraid of? It's not like the flowers are gonna bite you. Ow! What happened? I got bitten! I checked Nami's feet. There was a small wound on one of her ankles. Look, flowers don't bite. You just got scratched by a tree branch or something. I wasn't going to tell Nami about the wound because the truth is, the bite mark on her ankle looked like it was made by human teeth. Nami gasped. Oh, the hypericums. I was blown away too. A line of hypericums fluttered at the same time, forming a sort of path leading up to the lights ahead. It's just the wind. Hey, are we really gonna go that way? I'm resigned to my fate. Do we have anywhere else to go? I looked at Nami like there was no other choice. I started walking along with Nami. We were now standing right in front of an old Western-style mansion. This is cool music. That's quite a mansion there. Seems like it's haunted. Oh, stop. Don't fall for any of that occult stuff. Those are all just stories. Berkey, are we really going in there? Telling myself not to be afraid, I stuck my chest out and hid my fear. It should be a good test of our courage. Let's go. Your voice is trembling, Ferky. It's just adding a little vibrato to it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. Let's turn back. That's exactly what I wanted to do, but I didn't want her to think of me as less of a man. We're gonna run in. Now shut up and follow my lead. My voice trembled again. We ran. Nami ran like a wild goat, falling about 5 meters behind me, which is about 15 feet, by the time I've reached the front gate. Let's go inside. And then I felt lost about whether or not we should go inside. The gate gleamed black, wet with rain. Do you think it's locked? Only one way to find out. Nami put her hands on the iron bars. The gate, which looked so heavy, opened without any resistance. Going beyond the gate, we could see that the spacious garden was covered entirely by yellow flowers. Hypericums. We stood there for a while, taking the sight of them in. Perky. There, in the middle of a storm and the hypericums, I said, how many thousands of flowers do they have here? The wind grew strong. It sent a wave through the countless yellow flowers. The wave moved from the gate to the mansion. I could almost feel the mansion shake from the impact of the wave, and then it stopped. I stood there in the rain, struck by the thought that I had just witnessed something sinister and dark. Hey. Nami put her hand up to her ear. Do you hear that? Something's rustling. Huh? You mean the wind blowing through the leaves? Not that. Something else. Suddenly, a speckled snake slithered out from the tall grass. I could see its fangs glistening in its open mouth. You hear it, right? That sound. What are you talking about? Look, it's a snake. A snake. I took Nami by the hand and I ran towards the mansion in a panic. Hey, was that a rattlesnake? What's it doing in a place like this? Nami shouted as we ran. How should I know? Why don't you ask the snake yourself? It's poisonous. If I tried talking to it, it'd bite me for sure. We screamed back and forth at each other as we sprinted as hard as we could. We ran up the stone steps to the entrance, and when we turned back, we saw the snake slithering towards us over the brick-lined path. I grabbed the door's handle. The door was locked, and it wouldn't even budge. Excuse me, could you open the door, please? Please? There didn't seem to be any response from inside the mansion. Fergie, it's coming. It's coming closer, Nami shrieked. I decided to break the window, slam my body against the door. I'm not that big a person. I hit the window with my fist as hard as I could to break it. You're coming too, Nami. I pushed my way through the broken window and then pulled Nami inside. Whew. Safe for now, huh? Oh, God, you're bleeding. Nami grabbed my hand. My left hand had been scratched, and it was bleeding. It'll be fine. It's just a scratch. I sucked at the wound. Don't do that. You need to get it properly treated. Nami took out a handkerchief from her pocket and wrapped it around my hand. It smelled faintly of roses. It's all I can do for you now, but I'll tend to it later. Thanks. I felt a bit bashful. But anyway, the lock's useless now, huh? Whoever owns this place will probably give us an earful once they find out. We'll have to apologize to them ahead of time then. I stood up and looked around. It was a spacious entrance. There was a hall with stairs leading up to the second floor, and a large chandelier hung from the ceiling. On the left side, there was a large brick fireplace with a cloth-covered sofa set in front of it. Is anybody home? I raised my voice and walked further inside. We just let ourselves in. Nami also shouted out, but nobody replied. Maybe nobody's home? Yeah, well, whatever. Let's sit down for a while. I'm exhausted. I walked over to the sofa. I saw that there was a suit of Western armor that had been placed beside the fireplace. I'd seen suits of armor on the TV and in photographs, but this was the first time I'd ever seen one in person. People fighting in the Middle Ages actually wore these things? It occurred to me how heavy it must have been for those people to wear them. Hey, what's up with that? Nami tapped my shoulder. What's up with what? That, there. Nami pointed over to the right side of the entrance hall. A huge aquarium had been placed up against the wall. There wasn't anything particularly unique about the shape of it. It was just an ordinary looking glass aquarium you'd find anywhere, set in a silver-colored frame. The problem was the size. It was abnormally large. You think there's something inside it? I went over to the aquarium. The inside of the glass was covered with mildew, and the water was really dirty. Even if something was in there, you wouldn't be able to see what it was. So I can reach over the top and noodle, or I can look. I'm just gonna noodle. I reached over the top and tried to stick my hand inside. Stop! Surprised, I pulled my hand away. What's wrong? Why'd you shout at me all of a sudden? I just felt like something bad was about to happen. Her face looked pale. There's gotta be something in there. Look, the water's moving. I showed her that my hand was wet. Anyway, that's enough. I'm more concerned about finding out if anyone's actually here. Nami sounded like she was afraid as she looked around. If anybody was here, I think they would have heard us making a fuss in here by now. Should we look around? If you're scared, you can wait here if you'd like, Nami. No, I'll go too. And then... came from the second floor. Someone's gotta be here then. Let's go see. We walked up the stairs at the entrance. Hey. Even though we come so far as to walk up the staircase, Nami was whispering to me. What should we say if we meet whoever lives here? We'll be honest with them? Tell them we had an accident on the road? What else are we supposed to say to the... Huh? What's the matter? Wasn't there a suit of armor over there? I pointed to the side of the fireplace. Yeah. Huh? The suit of armor had vanished. Well, whatever. Let's go and check out that sound anyway. At the top of the stairs, The corridor went to the left and to the right. I think the sound came from this way. Walked down the hallway to the right. Which room could it be? Shh! I can hear it again. This is it. There's no reply. Are they not here? I opened the door without hesitation. It was dark inside. It didn't seem like anyone was in there. There was a wooden table in the corner to the left with an electric light stand on it, which glowed with a red light. I saw another table, a smaller one, right beside it. It had a checkered cloth on top of it and a single book. I stepped inside of the room. Whoa! The door suddenly slammed shut behind me. Stoic. Still, I paid it no mind and walked over to check out the book on the table. Oh! My foot got snagged on a cord and the stand crashed to the floor. The red light shined on the floor, lighting up the legs of the smaller table. Or so I thought. I could see that it wasn't actually a table. The red light on the floor had lit up the silver-colored spokes of a wheelchair. Oh, a wheelchair. What I thought was a small table was actually the lap of the person sitting in the wheelchair. I could see their slippers by the light of the stand that had fallen on the floor. Oh, I'm sorry for coming in here so suddenly. We should have knocked, but flustered, I turned to pick up the stand from the floor. There's no need to apologize, Nami said, which seemed like a strange thing for her to say. Then I looked up. The person sitting in the wheelchair was a mummy. The light from the stand caught out, and the room went totally dark. Did the wheelchair just move? What? I stepped backwards. Ah! Nami tugged at my clothes. The squeaking of the wheelchair was coming closer and closer. My hands trembled and I wasn't able to open the door. Hurry! Hurry up and open it! We practically fell over ourselves to escape into the hallway, but it was pitch black outside of the room too. I couldn't tell left from right. Nami, where's my flashlight? What do I know? I can't remember. Anything else? Search my flashlight. Always have a lighter on you. Maybe I could use the lighter in my pocket. I caught a glimpse of the staircase just a short distance away. There! We headed downstairs in a panic. The flashlight had been dropped right in front of the aquarium. Ow, it's hot! I couldn't hold on to the lighter anymore. I let go of it completely and fumbled around with my hands until I picked up the flashlight. Turned it on and pointed it at the second floor. I could see its hazy circle of light illuminate the second floor passage. There was no trace of the mummy. I can't. My legs. Nami collapsed to the ground helplessly. I sat down beside her. I couldn't believe it, though. A mummy? Here? In modern-day Japan? Were we just seeing things? No. I mean... Do I send the young girl off on her own to deal with things? No, I don't think so. I didn't want to scare Nami, so I decided to go check out the mummy by myself. Where are you going? Nami called out to me from behind. Going to go and find out whether or not that mummy was real. Who cares if it was real? Let's just stop. Nami was terrified and correct, by the way. But I'm curious. And Nami, you're scared too. We need to find out the truth. We just might have mistaken it for something that it wasn't. It's true, but still. I'll be right back. I walked over to the staircase. Wait! Don't leave me alone here. I'll go too. We returned to the door of the room we had entered before. The door had been left open. I timidly took a peek inside, but I only saw the electric stand on the ground. There was no trace of the mummy. How strange. Ah, it's on. The light was back on. The small stand was lit again, as well as the chandelier in the hallway. Oh, a cat. A black cat had come out from under the table. Here, kitty kitty. Nami crouched down and picked it up. How strange. I looked around the room. Were we just seeing things? You saw it too, Nami. Right? She didn't reply. She was entirely focused on the cat. I picked up the book, which had fallen on the floor. I opened it up. It was a diary. The entry I saw was dated 6 years ago. While flipping through the pages, I suddenly found a page that was bright red. It's blood. What? There's nothing written on the page, and a hypericum had been stuck there as a bookmark. It was covered in a blackish red liquid. And it's still fresh. Upon seeing the diary, Nami started to look a little green. Muttered to myself, could this be the mummy's blood? We shouldn't be looking at someone else. Oh no, we absolutely should be looking at someone else's diary. I muttered to myself, could this be mummy's blood? Hey, what's that sound? Something was approaching the hallway. Could it be that suit of armor that vanished earlier? That's ridiculous. The sound stopped right in front of the door. Oh, the cat. Kitty jumped through the gap in the doorway and went into the hallway. We held our breath as we looked at the door, but we didn't get the sense that anything was about to happen. We took a look through the gap, but we didn't see anybody there. It's strange, isn't it? Hey, this is creeping me out. Let's leave this mansion already. Nami sounded afraid when she said it. So my real feeling is C, of course. Which is that it's this is fun. It does sound like a wise decision, but that seems like a boring answer. Yeah, I'm creeped out too, but I get the feeling that we're not going to be able to just escape from this. What makes you say that? Nami asked angrily. Nothing, really. Call it a hunch. Do you enjoy teasing me that much? Okay, have all the fun you want. I'm heading back. Nami left the room. Hey, wait. I jumped up too in a panic, but Nami was heading down the stairs by herself. I'm sorry if I upset you. Wait up. Goodbye. Feel free to make yourself at home here. Nami opened the door at the entrance. Hold on a second. But after she took a look outside, she shut the door. What's the matter? Snakes? They're crawling around outside. I peered outside through the keyhole. Several speckled snakes were out there, moving this way and that. See? Just as I predicted. What are you so happy about it for? I'm not happy about it, obviously. I hate being here as much as you do. What should we do about it? Nami was holding her breath. There's got to be somebody here. There has to be somebody here. Practical answer, let's look for a phone. It is 1992. It is a mansion in the woods. The phone is definitely cut. I know. Let's look for a phone. There aren't any phones here. That's why we have to go look for one. What are you getting mad at me for? I'm not getting mad. I can take one look at your face and know that you're angry. This is the face I was born with. I headed to the back of the entrance hall. The hallway stretched to the left and to the right. Which way should we go? I asked. Yeah, right side, more doors. Let's search on the right, where there are more doors. Went down the corridor to the right. Hey, there are a lot of doors here. How will we choose? We'll save the doors further down for later. Let's open up one of the doors that's closest to us. Which one? This way. I can smell something strange. I opened the door. Behind it was a room that was being used as a library. The rows of books were packed tight on the shelves without any gaps between them. There sure are a lot of books here. I wonder if they've read them all. I passed my flashlight over the spines. Nearly all the books were of Western origin. There. A lamp oil can had fallen over in the corner of the room. This would explain the stench. Surrounding carpet was discolored, presumably due to the oil that must have spilled out of the can. Pretty dangerous, huh? Hey, let's just leave. Doesn't look like there's anything in here after all. Nami tugged at my arm. You're right. We left the room. After we walked from the hallway to the entrance hall, Nami spoke up. Hey, is that a phone under the aquarium? It really is. It's a black dial-up phone. Hey, we can call home from here. Nami couldn't hold back a smile, but could we even get anybody to drive all the way out here? Look, let's try calling home to find out. Sure. I held up the phone to my ear. All right. Whoa! An iron axe swooped down just in front of my face. When I looked up, I saw that the suit of armor that I thought had vanished was suddenly standing next to the aquarium. I approached the suit of armor with caution and lifted the helmet. It was totally empty. Of course it's empty. Yeah, of course it is. Ah! Nami screamed so loud. What's the matter? It cut the cord. The axe just cut the phone's cord. What? I quickly put the phone up to my ear. I couldn't hear the dial tone. I stupidly tried dialing a number anyway, but the phone was clearly dead. There was no response. It's not going to work now. There's no point even trying. I hung up the phone and stood back up. Not much we can do about it. We'll have to find another way. You can't be serious. Sound of rain echoed through the spacious hall. Why? This doesn't make any sense. Then I sighed and picked up the phone. That is an intriguing third choice. We're going to come back to that, though. Hello? I couldn't hear anything. Hello? More ringing. It's a different phone. A phone was ringing somewhere else in the mansion. And one over there, too. What is going on? I could hear more phones ringing. Hello? I shouted into the phone in my hands, but I couldn't hear anything from it. Who is it? I don't know. They won't say anything. It stopped ringing. Another noise came from the second floor. Strange phones ringing and now more noises. It's a poltergeist. Nami, pinch me. We have to find where they're hiding. Let's Scooby-Doo this. We have to find where they're hiding. I could see tears welling up in Nami's eyes. It made me so angry. And enough of this. I know you're hiding somewhere. Whoever you are, stop it right now and show yourself. My voice echoed in vain throughout the hall. I'll find you. I'm going to hunt you down and find you. Just you wait. Wait, don't go by yourself, please. I ignored Nami's cry and I raced up the stairs. Get out here. Show yourself. At the top of the stairs, I slammed on the nearest door as hard as I could, but there was no reply. I'm coming in. At that moment, a chill raced through my entire body. The anger that I had felt was gone, replaced by an icy chill running down my spine. Berkey? What is this? That strange presence had caused Nami to freeze too, right at the entrance. There was a single wooden coffin in the room, the sort that you might expect to find Dracula sleeping in. It was surrounded by many candles that had been lit. I reached out to the coffin as if I was drawn to it somehow. Stop it! What are you doing? Nami shouted. I knew in my head what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't help it. I opened the lid of the coffin. It was filled with yellow hypericum flowers in full bloom. On the top of them was a single piece of calligraphy paper that had been cut out in the shape of a person. The two letters written on it spelled out a single word in Japanese. Fuku Shu. Revenge. Nami was standing next to me, although I wasn't sure how long she'd been there. Hey, that reminds me. I looked at Nami. That's the meaning of the hypericum flower. Revenge. Revenge! The meaning of the hypericum flower is revenge. Nami muttered to herself as she stared at the piece of paper shaped like a person. Nami, her face was pale. Let's get out of here. I took her by the hand. I feel something's very wrong here. I may be pretty dense sometimes, but even I can sense this much. Let's leave. I pulled Nami out of the room and shut the door with both my hands, as if I was sealing away something very unpleasant. The next room will be this one. I approached the door on the other side. You're gonna keep looking for them? Nami asked, seemingly about to cry. I can't just kick back and relax now, can I? I raised my voice at her. Might even have to spend the whole night here. Is the owner of this house just a little freaky? Or are they actually trying to hurt us? We have to try to find out that much at least. As I went on this rant, Nami just stayed quiet. I ripped the door open. There was a window on the other end of the room with a small desk in the left corner. There was also a bed. It was a very ordinary room. There's nothing here, is there? I closed the door. There's a room we still have yet to check. Over there. I intentionally said this in the most calm and formal tone I could muster, and I went further down into the hallway. Nami followed me silently. We saw it before, though. Just in case, I took a peek into the room where we met up with the mummy, but as I expected, there wasn't a mummy in there. The diary remained exactly where it had been dropped, too. 2 more rooms. I opened the door across from the mummy's room. Oh, what's the matter? Nami took a peek inside, and when I looked at her, I saw that she had a relieved expression on her face. Looks like a girl's room, huh? The curtains, the bed, the wallpaper, everything was color coordinated in white and light pink. All sorts of decorations and vases had been neatly arranged. I knew somebody was here. I felt a little relieved. Somebody lives here for sure, yeah. Should we go in and look around? No, that would be a little... None of the rooms we'd seen seemed lived in, which made me feel like some kind of brave explorer. But this room felt different somehow. It suddenly hit me that I was doing something that I knew in my heart wasn't a polite thing to do. We can't go in here when she's not around. I mean, it's a girl's room. Yeah, you're right. But why won't she come out if she's here? Don't tell me she's hiding just to pop out and scare us for a laugh. Alright, what's clear is that we haven't met anybody yet. And I still want to give them a piece of my mind. So let's go looking for them, for real. I shut the door. I wonder if they aren't in here. I stood in front of the next door. But when I turned the doorknob, Nami suddenly grabbed my hand. Huh? Not here. What's wrong with you? What's with that scary look on your face? Hey, let's just stop. She looked serious. What's with you all of a sudden? Let's just stop, okay? Please. It's like I knew something bad will happen here, especially in this room. Just stop here. If only for this room. Why, though? Why is this one room off limits? It just is. That doesn't make any sense. They might be in here, you know? No, I don't think they are. I'm sure they aren't in here, okay? So let's just go already. Let's go back downstairs. She pulled me by the hand. What's the big deal? I just want to take a look in this one last room. I shook off Nami's hand and grabbed the doorknob. But it wouldn't open. Huh? Is it locked? See, I told you, we should just stop. I know what's going on. They screwed around with us, now they're hiding in here. Hello? Is anybody there? Hello? There was no response from behind the door. Upon closer inspection, the four corners of the door had been nailed shut. So, this door can't be opened? Hey, Ferky, I'm hungry. What? That came out of nowhere. I really am, though. I'm starving. Can we look for something to eat? Yeah, let's go to the kitchen. They've got to have something we can eat there. But you're hungry too, right, Ferky? We haven't eaten since this afternoon. That's true. But hey, let's go down and find something. Whoever owns this house might be down there too. Sure, I guess. I ended up getting pushed along by Nami. After we went down the stairs, she headed forward on her own, walked up to a door, and grabbed the knob without any hesitation. Let's hurry in, Ferky. Something didn't seem right to me. How do you even know if this is the kitchen, Nami? Huh? Now that you mention it. Nami looked at me surprised. I just had a feeling. It was like my feet just carried me here. It's weird, isn't it? Either way, let's go inside. It's pitch black in here, but it smells great. This has gotta be the dining room. I flipped the switch on the wall. There was a long table in the center of the room, and on it were plates stacked with food. But the thing is, what happened here? Everything was a total mess. The meat dish's sauce had been splattered everywhere, including all over the napkins on the table, which got splotched brown. The fish had been chewed up from head to tail, which attracted some flies. Knocked over bowls were scattered here and there, causing the soup they once held to drip off the edges of the table. Did that cat do this? Seems like it, huh? The fruit appeared to be untouched, but it was overripe and turning black. Didn't look appetizing at all. What should we do, Nami? Maybe there's something in the fridge? Huh? What's wrong? The look on your face is scaring me. That, just now. I looked around. Did you hear that? Hear what? It sounded like a woman shrieking. I didn't hear anything. You didn't just imagine it, did you? No, I'm sure I heard it for real. It came from over there. I approached the window. It was too dark to see outside, but I had a bad feeling about what it might be. Wait, I'll go and take a quick look. I stepped away from the window and headed for the exit. Hold on. What are you doing? Something might have happened and I'm curious to find out. Wait for me, I'm going too. We left the dining room. Hey, hand me your lighter for a second. What are you doing? Nami was holding a candlestick. It was from the dining room table. Felt a little uneasy about not having a light of my own. Thanks. Here, have your lighter back. Nami held the now lit candlestick, and I gripped my flashlight as we walked slowly down the hall. Hey, did you really hear someone? I could see doubt in Nami's eyes as she looked at me. Yeah, it sounded like he. It was a long and mournful cry. Creepy. Nami furrowed her brow. Then why would they be shrieking like that? Could it be a burglar? A burglar? It's certainly possible. It would explain why the lights are on even when the owner isn't home. The hallway veered to the left and continued on the back of the mansion, but the hallway there was tight and the ceiling was getting lower too. And what's more, it felt strangely gloomy there. It was like we'd veered off on the main road into some back alley. My flashlight lit up a small iron door just ahead. It came from behind that door. There's something creepy about this door, don't you think? Almost like they're conducting some sort of secret experiments in there. It was just like Nami said. The door had been painted clumsily, and almost all that paint had fallen off, leaving the metal door entirely red with rust. Wonder if it's open. Put my hand on the doorknob. There's that voice. You heard it this time, didn't you? It's the same voice as before. Nami stared wide-eyed at me and shook her head in denial. We're going in. I hurled the door open. I got struck in the face by a blast of wind and water. It was the back door, huh? Can't see anything out there. When I shined my flashlight outside, something to the right reflected the light. It's a greenhouse. Is the shrieking coming from in there? Oh. I could hear Nami shout behind me. What happened? The flame went out. Nami held the candlestick in her hand, looking at me reproachfully. Well, of course it would. And we're going out in the rain, so what should I do with it? I can't use it out there, so let's just leave it here. I set the candlestick at my feet and tugged at Nami's hand. Alright, let's go. Hand in hand, we trudged through the mud. Our clothes, which had just started to dry, were soaking wet almost instantly, and our shoes became heavy from all the mud. "Do you think somebody's in there?" Nami asked me quietly. "I doubt it." "What? So we came out here for no reason? I mean, not anyone who's alive, anyway." "No way." The expression on Nami's face changed instantly. If anybody was in there, they would have seen us shining a flashlight at them. There wasn't any response, so that would mean that there would already have to be... Why do you always have to scare me saying stuff like that? Nami looked like she was about to cry. We looked through the glass and saw that it was totally dark in there. I shined the flashlight inside. "Oh." Nami and I both shouted at the same time. There they are again. There were hypericum flowers inside. The small yellow flowers were mixed in with all the other ornamental plants. "A greenhouse of revenge," Nami said in a whisper. "Don't say it like that. It's creeping me out." "What? Look who's talking." We cautiously shined the light in as we walked around the greenhouse, but we made it to the other side without encountering anything out of the ordinary. No one was in there after all. Should we go inside the greenhouse too? Inside the greenhouse. Should we go inside the greenhouse too? I turned and faced the entrance. We've seen enough, haven't we? Well, you know. And at that moment... Yeah. What? When I shined the light at the greenhouse door, I saw it swaying in the wind. I looked over at Nami's face. Her mouth was agape, and she looked at me out of the corner of her eyes. Uh-oh. "All right. I'll race you to the door, then." I broke into a run. What gives? That shrieking was just the sound of this door? Nami shouted as if to scold me. "This is a race, you know. You'd better get moving." I paid her no mind and kept running. "Wait up! Ah!" When I looked back, I saw that she had fallen right on her butt in the mud. "You made me fall, you jerk." I started laughing just as I reached the door. "Wait, it's too dark. I can't see anything." At the entrance, I turned around and shined the light over toward Nami so she could see. The corner of the light hit the door, and the second I saw it, my smile froze up. "You made it here first." Nami came over, looked at me, and said, "Got that scary expression on your face again, but you're not fooling me this time." I gestured with my head toward the glass door. "You can be so dumb, you know," she said, and then she looked over. Whoa. There it was, written on the glass door in big red letters. Nami. The light that reflected off the glass illuminated us, and we stood there looking at it in the rain. "It's gotta be a coincidence," I said, but knew deep inside that a voice had drawn me here. Even if it actually was a coincidence, why would her name be written here? Nami looked pale as she stood there in the rain, dumbfounded. She said nothing, her eyes transfixed upon the glass as it swayed back and forth. The door creaked again as the wind blew it. "Let's go back," I said, making it a point to sound cheerful, but Nami didn't respond at all. "Let's go." I tugged at Nami's hand firmly. She didn't budge. "Why? How?" "You're just overthinking it." "Am I?" "It has to be a coincidence. It has to. This is the first time we've ever been here, for one, so somebody who was here had the same name as you. So what? And yeah, sure, it's weird for somebody to write their name in a place like that, but if we asked whoever lives here, they'd probably have some funny story about it. I'm sure they would." I talked loudly, without pausing, trying to shout away the fear that I felt inside. "Yeah," Nami said quietly as she nodded. We'll catch a cold if we stay out in the rain like this. Let's head back. I pulled Nami away and we kept walking. Even after we returned to the mansion, Nami looked gloomy. I felt sorry for her. Why did she have to see that? It was all my fault. How could I make her feel better? Oh, that's it. Hey, I said to her cheerfully. What? Feel like using their shower? What? Nami looked at me stunned. You're covered in mud after all, but it's fine, it's fine. I think they might have won over that way. I went on ahead. Turning right down the hallway, I reached the frosted glass door. This is it. I grabbed the handle. It was totally dark inside. I shined my flashlight in, and just as I thought, it was a bathroom. There's a white sink and a large mirror on the left. On the other side was a Western-style toilet next to a sliding glass door. The shower was probably on the other side of that door. No. We're not making Nami do this alone. This is a terrible idea. Alright, let's start by washing our hands, huh? I went over to the sink. The sink had a long, curved faucet. For some reason, maybe due to the seal on the faucet getting old, water continued to drip from it constantly. I turned the faucet on. The white sink became stained red. It's blood. Nami clung to my shoulder. No, it's not. It's rust. It's just rust. The red water started to clear up. The pipes have got to be getting pretty old. Hey, it's already better. I rinsed my hands in the running water. Nami seemed to be getting edgy. I wanted to help her get back to the way she was before. Hey, there isn't any soap here, is there? You must want soap. Yeah, Nami? Fine with just water. There was something odd about her modest reply. Nami was normally the type who'd insist on using soap. Let's try to be brave here. Even if you don't want any soap, I do. I jokingly threw a fit about it. If you insist, alright, I'll help you look for some. Nami opened up the cabinet beside the mirror and looked inside. It looked like she was smiling a little again. Oh, right. I forgot. I walked out into the hallway. Where are you going? I'll be right back. Keep looking around for that soap. We left the candlestick outside, so I went through the gloomy hallway and opened the iron door. The candlestick was gone, though. Weird. I shined my flashlight around, but I couldn't see it anywhere. I tilted my head in confusion as I returned to the bathroom. What was that about? Nothing. Did you find the soap? No, I couldn't. Did you look in here? I pointed to the doors below the sink. Oh, no. I didn't look in there yet. Then it must have been here. I squatted down and opened the doors. Ugh. A very unpleasant, rotten, and muddy odor drifted out from inside. I held my breath and looked in. An S-shaped pipe ran down the center, and on the right side of it were cleaning fluids, pesticides, shampoo bottles, and plastic bags strewn around like junk. It was as if the water from the old pipes had mixed together with dust and chemicals that had spilled out of the fallen bottles. It made me want to throw up. They really keep soap in a place like this? I don't think so. I took out a big plastic box that I found on the left side of the pipe. Inside of it was a wooden box with a cross in it. This must be a medicine box, yeah? There's something underneath it. Hold the medicine box up, Nami. Nami grabbed the handle of the medicine box and lifted it up. The moment she did, 4 bugs with black, greasy-looking wings crawled out from under the box. Ah! Cockroaches! Nami screamed and hurled the medicine box onto the floor. When the box hit the floor, the lid flew open, scattering some medicine bottles and packets across the floor. The cockroaches vanished in an instant into the corners of the room and under the door. They were gone. The medicine scattered everywhere. I laughed as I rushed to stop the rolling bottles of medicine. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I'll pick it up. Nami kneeled down and started putting all the medicine back in its place. Hey, there aren't any more of them, are there? The cockroaches, I mean. I don't think there are. Hey, there it is. The soap. I stood up and turned on the faucet. Nami was still picking up the medicine that had scattered everywhere. Go ahead and wash your hands first, now that we've found the soap. Okay. It sounded like a half-hearted reply. Wouldn't be good to touch medicine with dirty hands anyway, after all. True. Nami stood next to me and started washing her hands. As we washed the mud from her hands and arms, I watched the dirty black water spiraling down and getting swallowed up by the drain. Hey, Ferky? What? Something occurred to me when I was putting the medicine back. There were a lot of unfamiliar types of medicine in there. Unfamiliar? I'd never seen them before. Show me or gaslight her. Show me. Show me. I was a little interested. Hold on a second, okay? Nami plucked up a couple of different kinds of medicine. See for yourself. I took one of them, a tube of some sort of medicine, and read the label. Chloromycetin formulated fibrinolysin? What's that? I opened the cap and squeezed the tube. Some white cream came out. Looks like it's some sort of anti-itch cream. Didn't have that distinctive peppermint odor, though, and other than the hard-to-pronounce name on the label, nothing else was written on it. I read another tube's label. Vitamin E fortified sulfonamide. Nami suddenly looked shocked. Sulfonamide was used as a defoliant during the Vietnam War. A defoliant? Why would they have a vitamin E fortified defoliant? The label stated what it was used for. No, it looks like it's used to treat burns. Let's check out some of the other medicines, too. I was getting curious. Topical coagulant, heparin, socosirol. These are all keloid drugs. To be clear, I wasn't familiar with any of this beforehand. It was just written there on the labels. Nami picked up one of the medicines on the floor and popped off the lid. Hey, look, it's a weird color. The plastic container was simple and round, and it contained purple gel capsules. I'd never seen medicine this color before. But then again, I guess I haven't really seen any of this sort of medicine before either. Right? Nami gave me a smile I could only describe as triumphant. But there sure are a lot of cream-type medicines here, aren't there? They all seem to be treatments for burns. Did somebody who lives here get burned? It wouldn't explain why there are so many varieties, though. Well, whatever. Now that this is all cleaned up, let's take a shower already. Oh, wait a minute. There's still one more on the floor there. A small and brown glass bottle had rolled on the floor. Its cap was open. It's empty, yeah? No, there's something light yellow in there. Could this be a cream too? There was only a smattering of the goopy light yellow medicine in there. A handwritten label had been stuck on the bottle. The paper looked really old, worn, and discolored. Acronol. Tinct? Not sure. It's so hard to read because the label's all worn out. Acronol tinct oil? You know what that is? It's another kind of burn medication. How'd you know that? Nami looked surprised as if she thought it was common knowledge. What do you mean, how? This sort of medicine has been around for so long. Are you sure about that? Maybe you're getting the wrong idea, like earlier when you thought it was a defoliant. I gave a mean-spirited laugh, and Nami snatched the bottle away from me and closed it up in the medicine box. If you don't believe me, then fine. I'm kidding. I believe you. I totally do. Anyway, really was another burn medication after all. I stood up, tilting my head to the side, and opened the glass door to go inside. The floor was covered in light blue tiles, and a white Western-style bathtub was there. There were tiles on the walls too, but they were all cracked and had black mildew growing all over them, to the point where it was hard to even see the tiles. The shower was small, considering how big the mansion was. After getting out of the tub, there was only enough room to dry yourself off. Maybe this is normal for a Western-style bathroom? We won't be able to take a shower together, will we? What? Did you just say something? No, nothing at all. I'll be fine taking a shower alone. You heard what I said, huh? Nami stepped into the shower room. Hey, I wonder if this place has hot water. I tried turning the shower handle just a little. As I expected, the water came out red and cold. So I guess that's no. I turned the handle even more, almost giving up on the idea. But no. After a while, the water cleared up as it started to warm up. Put my hand under the water. Ah, it's nice and warm. Is it? Nami reached out to touch it too. A mean impulse kicked in and I flipped the hot water off. Nami glared at me just a little and she retreated to the bathroom. Are you mad? She didn't reply. Back in the bathroom, she moved to take the towel hanging at the side. You're going to use their towel? This is a very weird scene. What's the big deal? I'll just dry myself off with it after I'm clean. It's no different from drying your hands. She said curtly, walked past me and proceeded into the shower. You're going to shower in your clothes? Take them off inside, obviously. Oh, okay. All right, I'll go first. Nami shut the door. Oh, this door's tight. It won't shut all the way. Sliding door rattled around, not shutting as it should. What are you so upset about? Who cares if it doesn't shut all the way? Just leave it like that. Then I can't lock it. She gave me a scared look. Don't peek, okay? I won't peek. You promised. If you peek, we're through. Yeah. Oh, so Nami's your girlfriend. An hour and something in, and I finally understand that. Okay. In the end, she had to shower without locking the door. Through the frosted glass, I could faintly see her hang up her towels and take off her clothes. I was glad that Nami seemed like she was back to normal, and just then a thought occurred to me. No, absolutely not. I tried not to look, as I promised. Oh, right. We forgot our change of clothes. I'm gonna get her stuff at the entrance. Be right back. I called out to Nami and left the sink. I picked up my bag, sighed, and looked around the entrance hall. It was quiet. I looked at the clock there and saw that it pointed to just about 10 o'clock. All sorts of weird stuff has been happening here, but I think we'll be able to make it to morning somehow. There it was again. The sound of that armor. I looked at where the suit of armor should have been, and it was gone. The sound seemed to be coming from the bathroom. I returned to the hall. The sound seemed to be moving away from me, as if the armor had turned down the hall. I started running, but just as I approached the front of the bathroom, I suddenly heard Nami scream from inside. Yeah! What's wrong, Nami? I opened the bathroom door in a panic. I came into the room at the exact same time that Nami hopped out of the shower. Nami's wet white skin pierced my eye. She was totally naked. She looked straight into my eyes. Nami squatted down. Get out! She curled up and shouted as loud as she could. Sorry. I flew out into the hallway. Turn around. Oh, okay, sure. Nami noisily shut the glass door. Hey, are you okay? What happened? You know that wasn't on purpose, right? I was worried about you. It was true that I was worried about her, but it also true that I felt lucky to see what I saw. Gross. No, don't come in right now. Absolutely not. Her voice still had an edge to it. I tried to calm her down with a softer tone of voice. I know, I won't go in until you say it's okay. You alright though? You said it was hot. You didn't get burned, did you? I'm fine. I got hit by a little hot water. Just hold on a second. What happened? Water got so hot all of a sudden. I tried to stop it, but it just kept pouring out. It's so cramped in there was nowhere to run, so I flew right out of the shower. Must have happened because this place is so run down. Are you okay? You didn't get burned, did you? I'm fine. I got out right away after all. Okay, I'll leave the clothes bag here. I set the bag in front of the glass door. The door opened slightly and Nami reached out for it. All good. Nami spoke up after staying silent for a while. There was a lot of steam drifting from the inside, and lukewarm steam stuck to my skin. Nami had already finished changing and started drying her hair in front of the mirror. Her cheeks blushed, having come right out from the shower. Sorry about what happened earlier. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I peeked into the shower room. There was still a lot of steam, and the shower was spraying out hot water. I reached out and touched it. Ow! It's boiling. Told you. If you'd stayed a second longer, you would have been badly burned. Oh, right. Maybe that's why there's so much burn medication in there, huh? A mini light bulb started flickering above my head. Oh. But it doesn't add up. Why would they only treat their wounds? Why wouldn't people generally fix the bath? Well, I can't talk about what goes on in a stranger's house. I'm just glad we're okay. What should we do, though? It's too hot to reach in there and turn off the shower. Can't just leave it running, either. Huh. Oh, that's it. I remember seeing a big machine out in the back. Judging by where I saw it, I wondered if it might have been the boiler. I'll go take a quick look at the boiler room. There was a boiler room? I saw something out there that might have been. I'll go take a look. Will you be okay? I'll be fine. I'll be back before you know it, I said, and then I left the bathroom. I passed through the dark hallway and through the iron door, remembering the sound of the suit of armor. Could it be just beyond the door? I gulped and turned the doorknob. I opened the door as quickly as I could and jumped backwards. Nothing was there. Huh. The rain had almost entirely stopped. Guess I better get going, huh? I was about to step out when a hand grabbed me by the shoulder. Ah! It was Nami. What's the big idea? I shouted at her. Can you blame me? I was scared all by myself. She spoke to me in a sweet voice. Can I just ask you not to surprise me? I think you shaved 10 years off my life just now. Oh, come on. Okay. I know. Should we go together? I'll get dirty again if I go back out, though. What do you expect me to do then? Don't get mad. Where's that boiler room anyway? You can see the light from the bathroom over there, right? It looks like there's a room leading down underneath it. So it's close. I guess. I'll stay here then. Just come back quickly. What? Weren't you just saying how close it is? Aren't you coming along? I don't want to get muddy again. After taking another look at Nami, I noticed that she wasn't wearing any shoes. Oh, right. You see. I'll get going then. I headed down to the concrete steps. Come back here if anything dangerous happens, okay? What kind of dangerous things you think will happen? I walked along with my left hand touching the wall. As I walked, I heard the sound of the wet leaves I was jostling. Eventually, the wall suddenly opened up to reveal that entrance. I went down the dark staircase, shining my flashlight ahead. There, in the darkness, I saw a large and smooth silver machine. Several metallic pipes came out of the top and went right through the walls and ceiling. Just as I thought, it's the boiler. I shined the flashlight to take a closer look at the device before me. What's up with this? The temperature needle was set to over 80 degrees Celsius. It's 176 degrees Fahrenheit. Even now, it was climbing higher. It's only just getting warmed up earlier. I hate to think what would have happened to Nami if she'd been hit by the water now. I felt a chill run down my spine. Having found the temperature control knob, I found myself surprised once more. The dial had been set to a whopping 100 degrees Celsius, 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Why is it set this high? And what's more, it was making a weird noise. Who knows? Maybe the boiler was as old as the house itself. I turned the knob down to halfway, to 40 degrees Celsius. I'll just have to wait and see what happens. How did it go? Nami asked me when I made it back. Found out the problem there. The boiler's temperature was set to 100 degrees Celsius. What? Nami was stunned. You got out right away, so I'm guessing it was up to about 50 degrees at the time. You know what it was when I got to the boiler? 80 degrees. I would have killed you. I started talking a little faster as I headed back into the mansion. Why would anybody set it to 100 degrees? It'd be too hot to get in. Don't ask me, but it should be fine now. I set it back down to 40. It should be back to normal soon enough. I'll pass on another shower. It's too scary. I got the mud off me anyway. Hey, it's your call. You already changed too, yeah? We returned to the bathroom. I wonder if the temperature really went down. Opened the shower's sliding door. Whoa. That moment, hot steam blasted out at me. The steam was white. It looked just like a cloud, but the temperature of the shower's water had already gone down. I reached out and turned it off. It's off now anyway. Glad that's settled, Nami chuckled. Hey, what time is it? I remembered seeing the clock earlier. I think it's just past 10. Huh? Weren't you wearing a watch, Nami? I guess I must have dropped it somewhere. I know I had it when we were in the dining room, though. Oh? Well, I'll help you look for it, but, I made an effort to put on a weak expression. Sorry, would you actually mind if I took a shower first? That steam made me really want to take a shower. I'll be out in like 5 minutes tops. The water's already warm after all. It shouldn't be a problem. You don't need to explain yourself. Oh, right. Just wait a second first. Nami went in the shower and took her shorts and polo shirt and squeezed them out. It's what she was wearing earlier before the shower. It must be a problem with the pipes. Water isn't going down. I looked down. Levels seemed to have dropped a bit, but the water didn't appear to be going down. Something stuck in the pipes? Checked around to see if there was a plug, but I couldn't find anything. Peered through a gap in the wall drain on the tub. Ugh! Long black hair had clumped together and waved in the water like seaweed. It was too long to be Nami's hair. This must be what had plugged it up. Creeped me out, making me think of a drowned body. I hesitated for a moment, closed my eyes, and I plunged my right hand into the warm water. I could feel the long, thin hair tickle my hand and fingers. I forced myself not to pay attention to it and grabbed dozens of strands. Then I gave them a tug. I felt like part of it opened up, some of the strands of the hair having been ripped off. I pulled at it a good while, sometimes weakly, sometimes harder, and everything in between. Eventually, the hair split into 2 clumps, and far more hair than I ever imagined plopped up from under the water. The wet hair that I pulled up was all twisted together. It looked like some kind of wild animal. I gritted my teeth and I left the room. Nami took a look at what I'd pulled out, covered her mouth with her hands, and looked away. I don't blame her. It was filthy and muddy. The word disgusting wasn't enough to capture it. I threw it all into a trash can just beside the sink and rolled out a ton of toilet paper that was hung on the wall to wipe all the hair off my arms. Maybe someone got a haircut recently? I said, playing dumb, trying to brush aside how creeped out I was. But it wasn't just a joke. It's hard to believe that much hair could clump together just from hair that fell out naturally. I washed my hands using water from the sink and more soap than I'd normally use. How does it look now? Is it still clogged? The water's starting to go down. Great. There might still be hair in there, but as long as it's good enough for me to take a shower, I'm okay with it. All I know is I never want to touch it again. Alright, I'm going in. I'll get out as soon as I can. Sorry if somebody comes back home in the meantime. Okay. Nami turned to the sink and started washing her own clothes. I forced the door to close, putting a little muscle into it, and I heard it snap shut completely. Hey, it does shut after all, huh? The water was hot, but it wouldn't be so hot that I couldn't get in anymore. I slowly climbed into the tub. I splashed some warm water against my face and let out a big sigh. I felt like I'd been brought back from the dead. The owner of the house might as well not come back at this point. We could get some rest and be out of here in the morning. I felt better, and so did my thoughts. Though what I was thinking was pretty selfish. It won't be that easy though, will it? I twisted the handle to turn on the shower. The water wasn't ridiculously hot anymore. It felt nice. I had been careless though. I'd forgotten the soap and a towel. Rubbed off the mud that was on my feet using my hands. The mud turned the water dark. It's a Western-style bath for you. I could say whatever I wanted using someone else's bath. I liked how it made me feel. Okay, it's about time I got out, huh? I said it extra loud so Nami would be able to hear, but there was no reaction in the other room. I knocked on the door. Coming out? No response. Weird. Did she go somewhere? Oh, I know. She's hiding so she can surprise me. With that in mind, I put my hand on the door and said, I know you're there. The door wouldn't open. It opened wide enough to maybe get a finger through, but then it snapped shut again. Come on, I know you're just screwing around with me. Open up. Convinced that Nami was holding the door shut, I rattled the door, tapped it, and pulled it. But it really did start to seem like Nami wasn't even there. Must be because I forced the door shut. I tried lifting the door and pushing it all sorts of different directions. But no matter what I did, the door would only rattle. It showed no sign of opening. Suddenly, hot water from the shower that I know I turned off came back on. I tested the handle and confirmed that it had been completely turned off. You've got to be kidding me. I had a bad feeling about this. Nami? Open the door. Nami! I shouted out as loud as I could, but there was no response. I looked down and saw that a metal bar about the size of a stick of chewing gum had been wedged into the rail of the sliding door. What's this? It had been put there to prevent the door from opening. Clearly, this thing was the reason why I couldn't open the door. Huh. I tried to remove it, but only ended up hurting my thumb. It was no good. What am I supposed to do now? I checked the window, but it was too small. Wouldn't be able to fit through it. My bad premonition turned out to be spot on. The hot water pouring out of the shower was getting hotter, and the white steam was getting thicker. It started getting hard to breathe, and I couldn't take it anymore. I got out by breaking through the glass. Wait a minute. As I was changing my clothes, a scary sort of vision came to me. The temperature went up slowly this time, so I was fine. What if the door had totally shut on me? Fortunately, she wasn't strong enough to shut it all the way, but what if I'd gone in before her? I started to get worried about Nami. It's possible she went looking for her watch. Maybe she's sleeping on the sofa. I would think she's sleeping. Maybe she's sleeping on the sofa. Went to the entrance hall. But Nami wasn't there. Where could she have gone? I heard the sound of a wheelchair coming from the second floor. I looked up and saw someone in a white dress pushing the mummy in the wheelchair down the hallway on the second floor. I quickly hid in the shadow of the stairs. The girl in the white dress. She slowly pushed the wheelchair down the corridor to the right, and then she was gone. It seemed like she went into one of the rooms, but could she be the one who owns this house? Headed up quietly up the steps. After heading up, I looked down the hallway to the right and saw light coming through the gaps in one of the door frames. I peeked through the keyhole. Nami was standing there, staring blankly. She didn't even notice me coming in. Nami! Nami suddenly came back to her senses. What are you doing in a place like this? Oh, I was looking for you. Sorry, what was I doing? I just went up here. I'm not sure when. Why did you call all the way up to the second floor? I went down the hall looking for my watch and... Oh yeah, someone called out to me. Somebody called out to you? Was it the woman I saw earlier in the white dress? Huh. I couldn't find it, and that's when they called out to me, I think. How did they call out to you? Nami. By name? Why would they know Nami's name? Well, whatever. I'll save the questions for later and just let Nami continue. And then what? Then, I thought they were calling me from the second floor. So, no, I'm not sure where they were calling me from. But I came up and nobody was there, but this door was open, so you came in. Yeah. No way. That's too dangerous. You weren't suspicious of someone in this bizarre mansion who knew your name? I spoke to her angrily, but Nami responded by giving me a strange look. Oh, right. Well, that would be the ordinary way to respond, but still. For some reason, I wasn't scared. I could only wonder why I wasn't scared. She tilted her head, confused by her own actions. Nami had been acting strangely ever since we first came to this place. Maybe that's not strange, given all the odd things that had happened to us. But more importantly, who was calling to her? Hey, was the person calling to you a woman by any chance, Nami? Ah, there! Nami ignored what I said and pointed up just above the dresser. I zoned out right when I entered this room and I saw those dolls. There were two Western-style girl dolls sitting next to each other there. Both were dressed in the exact same clothes, a red jumper skirt. These dolls? I picked them up. Let me have them. Nami took them very delicately with both hands and pressed both of them against her cheeks. Huh? Nami looked so relaxed. It was a face I'd never seen her make before. Are you okay? These dolls feel familiar somehow. They make me feel like a kid again. They just look like dolls to me, but I guess it's because I'm a guy. No, I wouldn't say that. These are special. Huh. Nami closed her eyes, lost in the moment. I'll never understand women. Oh, well, anyway, I saw the mummy from before. It was being pushed by a lady in a white dress. It still seemed like she was out of it. I thought she might be one of the owners. Nami opened her eyes. It seemed to me like she was still dreaming. I'm worried. I think I should take a look around, I said, and headed to the exit. Okay. Nami set the doll gently back into place as if it was a precious treasure, and gave it a sad wave as she left the room. Bye-bye. I think she went into one of these rooms. I looked into the rooms on the second floor, one by one. I peeked into every room, aside from the one that wouldn't open, but I couldn't find the mummy or the woman in the white dress. With nothing else to do, I headed back down. It's strange. Maybe you're just mistaken? You can be kind of scatterbrained sometimes after all, Ferky. No, I saw her clearly. I thought I'd be in trouble if she saw me, so I hid from her. I made a dramatic movement like an action star and ducked to the shadow of the stairs. Now that's smooth. Nami laughed and imitated my movement. Yeah, and that's where the lady in the white dress came in. Hey! Nami tapped me by the shoulder. Look here. There were scratches on the lower part of the stairs pillars. I came closer to them with the flashlight. Nami. It had to be carved right there, and right underneath it, the name Naomi was also carved. And that wasn't all. Next to each name carved on the pillar, Nami and Naomi, lines had been carved. What could this be? Comparing heights? Nami responded coldly. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. That explained why the names were carved in places like this. So there were two girls here, named Nami and Naomi. Hey, Ferky? What? The lady in the white dress didn't look like me by any chance, did she? Well, I didn't get a clear look at her face. Oh. You're not getting any funny ideas there, are you, Nami? What do you mean funny? Oh, I don't know. Since you asked if she looked like you? Does it matter? Nami's eyes narrowed slightly. I didn't mean anything by it. The thought just occurred to me. Okay, whatever. My leg's starting to go numb from squatting down. I stood up. Alright, sofa time. Search through the mansion. I think it's sofa time. Let's take a little break on the sofa. Okay. I'm beat. I lounged on the sofa, totally relaxed. You're acting like an old man. So what if I am? I'm really tired after all. Took a quick look at what was in front of me and I saw a huge tapestry set upon the wall over the fireplace. 3 people were standing in a field, dressed in foreign clothing. The artwork was very stylized, so there was no way to know if the people were male or female or even how old they were. Still, the image was able to convey that they were enjoying themselves. My eyes passed over the table in front of me. An image of 3 people playing together was etched there as well. Wonder why there are 3 people. Huh? Did you say something? Oh, well, I could hear a piano being played. Who's playing that? It's coming from over there. We headed down the hallway to the left. I could hear the sound coming from the door on the right side of the hall. They won't stop playing. What should we do? We opened the door. It was pitch black inside. I shined my flashlight around the room. The white circle of light revealed bookshelves, a table, and eventually a grand piano. But nobody was sitting in front of it. The piano is playing itself. Nami clung to my arm. Don't tell me. I found the light switch on the wall. Turning on the light settled some of my unease. I approached the piano. I could see that the keys were moving up and down despite nobody touching them. I looked at the floor and saw that the piano was plugged into an electrical outlet. It's okay, it's just a player piano. Oh. There was a small candlestick on top of the piano. I lit it with my lighter. Adds to the ambiance, doesn't it? That it does. There was a picture hung up on the wall beside the piano. There were 3 people in this one, too. There was a mom and 2 little girls playing together. Hey, Nami, something caught my attention about that picture. Why are there 3 people there? Nami's gaze was fixated on the picture. She looked pale somehow, and I could see beads of sweat on her forehead. Are you not feeling good there, Nami? I touched Nami's shoulder, and she muttered under her breath. It can't be. It can't. Whoa. Suddenly, the wind blew, pushing the curtains into the lit candles, setting them on fire. Ah! After getting set on fire, the curtain had wrapped around Nami's face. Get back! I pulled Nami by the hand. She stumbled away from the piano. The fire was spreading over more and more of the curtain, setting it all ablaze, and the flames reached all the way up to the ceiling. This is bad. We've got to put it out. I looked around in a panic, but I couldn't find anything that would be able to extinguish the fire. My mind raced as I tried to remember which rooms in this mansion had water. Okay. The entrance, definitely the bathroom. The bathroom. That's really far, but that's the only one I can think of offhand. That's it. There was water in the bathroom. If I could draw the water from there, I might be able to put out the fire. Nami, keep as far away from the fire as you can. I ran off to the bathroom. When I got there, I could only stand there scratching my head. I don't have a hose to attach to the faucet. Fire would spread if I spent too much time looking around. My mind raced as I tried to think of any other places where I might find water. Kitchen. A lot of homes have a fire extinguisher set in the kitchen. I raced down the hallway and opened up the door to the dining room. I kicked the chairs out of the way, went around the counter looking down into the kitchen. There we go. I grabbed the fire extinguisher and hustled back to the piano room. The ceiling had already filled up with black smoke. Half the curtains had burned away completely, and the other half was blowing in the wind, sending small flecks of flame through the air. But Nami stood right beside the piano, not even trying to stay away from the flames. What are you doing? Don't you realize you're in danger standing there? But Nami, looking like she'd been possessed, just kept staring at the fire. It was like she hadn't even heard me. I'm telling you, stay away from the fire. I pushed Nami away from the fire and raised the fire extinguisher to it. The smoke that was coming up was white. I started coughing, partially blinded by the smoke. I saw the red of the fire through the white smoke and aimed the fire extinguisher at it. I sprayed the contents of the extinguisher at it. I eventually sprayed out the entire contents of the extinguisher. The wind blowing through the windows began clearing the smoke out of the room. The smoke that remained seemed more like a carpet of mist in the air. I saw tongues of fire that still remained here and there. I smashed them out with my shoes. Whew. Managed to put it out. The walls were charred black, the floor was wet, and the piano had managed to remain unburnt. Nami sat on the floor in a daze, a short distance away, as if she was shocked by what had just happened. We're okay now. I put out the fire. Nami said nothing at all. Don't worry. I'll take responsibility for the cleanup. Nami's mouth opened halfway, and then the words started spilling out. Nami. Naomi. That's right. I remembered. That's it. I felt it when I came in somewhere. Nami stood up slowly, approached the piano, and started doing something strange. Yeah. Squatting down like this made me realize I'd always seen the piano from this perspective. I watched Mom playing it, and Naomi was here too. But the fire! The fire! Nami's face twisted up and she screamed, Nami! I raised my voice at her and she was startled, looking at me as if she had just remembered that I was there. Perky, what's gotten into you? Perky, I grew up in this house. I used to live here. Huh? I knew it. I remembered it from the fire just now. This was my childhood home. No way. You never told me about this place before. Why would you keep it a secret? I didn't keep it a secret. I only just remembered it now. I'd forgotten everything. All that had happened when I was little. It's weird. Nobody ever told me about it, but I know now. I remembered it. You can't be serious. I stood there in silence, totally shocked. Oh, but that mummy's gotta be... Nami stood up and dashed straight for the door. Nami! Where are you going? I followed after her, grabbing hold of her just before she went through the door. Let go of me! Let me go! I'm not letting go of you. That mummy is one of my relatives. It's my mom. Or maybe my sister? Calm down. I'm telling you, calm down. Nami struggled to break free from my grasp, but I kept holding onto it tight, and Nami eventually stopped fighting. You calm down? Nami looked like the blood had gone from her face, and her eyes weren't focusing on anything. What could have happened while I was gone? What happened to my mom and my sister? What happened, Ferky? She looked at me straight in the eyes. She was deep in thought. Come on. I have to find that mummy. If I don't find it, then Okay, I'm not going to let you do it alone. Before we get to that, you need to calm down. No, leave her in a high-stress state. This will be fine. Okay, but I'm not letting you do it alone. I'm going with you. We're going together. Nami and I left the piano room. It was silent in the hall, as if nothing happened. We should start searching from the second floor, shouldn't we? We slowly trudged upstairs. Nami had said what she had said, but it made no sense to me. She'd found her name here, and we'd experienced all sorts of strange things, but she's just confused. Once we check through everything, we'll get some rest on the sofa. Tomorrow, the two of us will probably be having a good laugh about all this. Okay, should we start checking from the second floor? As we headed up the second floor hallway, I turned and looked behind me. Huh? Nami wasn't there. Did I lose her somewhere? I was sure she was right behind me. Let's go on the first floor. I looked down into the hall on the first floor. When I turned around to face the sudden sound I heard, I saw a wheelchair with nobody on it, racing towards me at high speed. Whoa! I dodged the wheelchair by the skin of my teeth. The wheelchair collided with the handrail of the stairs. If it had hit me, I might have fallen downstairs along with the wheelchair. But there was something else that I was more concerned about. I caught a glimpse of the person who had thrust the wheelchair towards me. It looked like Nami. Could she have done it? That was going too far to just be a joke. Could the confusion that she was feeling have driven her crazy? Glancing at the wheelchair, I noticed something silver shining on it. It was a wrench. Oh, hey, this is my wrench. The wrench was wrapped in tape and had my name, Ferky, written on it. I've been using it to do maintenance on my car. Who brought this here? At that moment, a door opened nearby. Oh, Nami. Nami had a stoic look on her face. You had me worried there. I ran over to her, but Nami took one look at me, stepped back into the room she was in, and shut the door. Hey! I dashed over and opened the door. Nami had buried her face into the bed on the right-hand corner of the room. What happened, Nami? Nami didn't look up. She just pointed at the desk. It looked like she had just started crying. There was a single photograph on the desk. It was an old photograph with a sepia color tone. In the photo were two girls, probably around 3 years old, standing next to each other, wearing the same white blouse. Not only were they wearing matching clothes, they looked perfectly alike. I'm guessing they were identical twins, conceived from a single egg. When I saw the photo, I immediately understand what Nami was thinking, but I asked her anyway. So, what's the big deal? That photo. She looks like me, doesn't she? I could hear Nami's voice coming from under the bedsheet. It sounded like she was crying. How so? I don't see the resemblance. Take a closer look, then. Why? There's no way either of those little kids turned into a girl as beautiful as you, Nami. Stop it. That's enough. Enough of what? Look at the name tags pinned on their chests. Name tags? Two girls in the photo did have name tags pinned to their chests. One was Nami and the other was Naomi. So what? It's just a coincidence. When I hesitated to say any more, Nami looked up at me. The second our eyes met, she covered her face with her hands and jumped straight out of the room. It was all too much. I was dumbfounded. Was everything that Nami said true? Did she really live here with her sister? Then that wasn't Nami, but Naomi? If they were identical twins, then it wouldn't be out of the question. But why? Why would Nami's sister mess with my car and attack me? What did I ever do to her? Now that I think about it, I remembered what happened in the shower. Maybe that was Naomi too. I don't know why she would have a grudge against me, but one thing was clear. She was trying to hurt us. I started to get worried about Nami. Nami! When I went out further to the hallway, the door further ahead closed. It's probably Naomi's room. I started walking that way, but when I looked down, I could see wet footprints that led to a different room. I also heard the piano coming from below. Where could Nami be? Piano hall, wet footprints. Let's go with wet footprints. I followed the wet footprints. The footprints continued to the room where I first saw the mummy. I could hear her voice inside. I held my breath as I peered through the keyhole. There were two Namis! One had fallen on the floor. The other was standing in front of her, wearing a wet white dress, but their faces were identical. The one on the floor was wearing the clothes that Nami had been wearing. Does that mean that girl in the white dress is Naomi? The girl who looked like Nami was pointing a knife at Nami and screaming. We're going to me and my brother's place. Brother? There's a brother too? Well, I didn't have time to think about it. Naomi started coming closer to Nami with the knife. Stop! I stumbled into the room and leapt for the hand that held the knife. Don't interfere! Are you Naomi? Why would you do this to your own sister? That's none of your business. Naomi put up a struggle, but when I got the knife away from her, she ran out into the open door into the hallway, and then she was gone. Nami, are you okay? Ferky. Nami's voice was trembling. Was that Naomi? Your sister? Why was she about to stab you with a knife? And what's this about a brother? You had a brother? Despite the excitement of what had just happened, Nami could only look back at me with sadness in her eyes. Were you hurt? I'm fine. Thank you, Ferky. I don't know what would have happened to me if you hadn't come. Right. But anyway, was that Naomi? That's what she told me. She said she's my sister. I was shocked. What about your brother? I don't know about him. I just don't know. Naomi stumbled for the right words. It's okay. You don't have to try to remember. A book had been dropped on the floor. I picked it up and saw that it was a diary. In it, I saw that it detailed the struggles and loneliness that Naomi experienced taking care of her brother after her mother had passed away. I'm afraid to go to sleep, wondering to myself, will Nami be dead when I wake up? It says Naoki. Oh, this is the diary. I'm afraid to go to sleep, wondering to myself, will Naoki be dead when I wake up? The very thought tears me apart. I really will end up all alone here, but with all the pain Naoki's in, all of the screaming. If there's no cure for this, I'd rather just die. There's no point keeping me alive. Kill me, Naomi, please. Make the pain stop. Kill me. Oh, Naoki. If only I'd been the one who got sick instead of you. Yet, even with this burn that I suffered, I'm forced to live. Why did you get sick, Naoki? Why do I have to be the one to live on? Nami started talking, her voice muddled by her tears. Naomi, before you got here, Ferky, she kept reading that to me. She said that despite all the hardships she faced, even the death of our brother couldn't stop her from wanting to see me. But I don't know anything about that. She said the three of us played together as kids, but I have no memories of him. Still, I do remember the fire that burned her, because I was the one who caused it. You can't blame yourself for that, especially not for something that happened when you were a kid. But... I held Nami tightly as I turned to the last page. Let me sink to the bottom of my ocean. Let me find rest there, in my ocean. It was Naoki's last will, and I did just as he said. Now I'm all alone. The diary ended there. What did he mean, let me sink to the bottom of my ocean? That's when it hit me. Nami, your brother might not be dead. What? The mummy's eyes. They look just like yours. The mummy's eyes look like mine? At first, I thought it was Naomi, but maybe the mummy is your brother, only dressed like a mummy. But the diary pretty much said that he's dead. When I took the knife from Naomi, I got a look at her eyes. I could tell that she wasn't right in the head. She might think he's dead, but that doesn't mean he really is. Wasn't there a room we still haven't entered yet, Nami? Yeah, the door that was sealed off. If we go there, we might be able to figure out what happened. I headed to the exit. Wait, I'm going to. Sure you'll be okay? Maybe you could just lock the door and just wait in here. No, I'll go. This is my problem to solve. It's my family, after all. It sounded like Nami had made up her mind. She wasn't crying anymore. Okay. We'll go together. The door was closed, but was it still locked? I grabbed the doorknob. Ugh. I suddenly felt something heavy hit the back of my head. Then, I fell unconscious. I slowly opened my eyes and saw the red carpet of the hallway. Ugh. My head still hurt. I tried to move my right hand to my head. That's when I realized that I was unable to move. I've been tied to a wheelchair. Ah, shit. I wriggled my body to loosen the rope. So, you're awake. I heard a voice from behind me. Is that you, Nami? Untie me. I tried to twist my head to look behind me, but I couldn't turn fast enough to see her face. Let's get going, shall we? The lady behind me started pushing the wheelchair. Nami? You're not Nami, are you? Her voice sounded exactly the same, though. Was this Naomi? I was lonely. I can't tell you how lonely I was. You wouldn't understand. You forgot all about us. This wasn't Nami. Where could Nami have gone? I really did feel sorry for Naoki. He was in pain, unbearable pain. He weathered it all, though, until he was nothing but skin and bones. I dreamt that we could have lived together, the three of us, but you never came. What is she talking about? Where was she taking me? Even after Naoki passed, you didn't come. I hated you for that. It was all because of the fire that you started. It seemed like she was talking to me as if I was Nami. I managed to get one of my hands free and pulled my lighter out of my pocket. The wheelchair rolled slowly down the second floor hallway. Dad died in the fire that you started. Mom was so affected by the shock of it that she grew sick, and my forehead. Naomi was at a loss for words for a second. I was just glad that Naoki was unharmed. Back then, I had no idea that you were the one who started the fire. I lit the lighter to burn through the rope. I read Mom's diary after she had died. That's when I found out what you had done. That was about the same time that Naoki started getting sick. Her voice started to tremble, and the wheelchair came to a stop. We were right in front of the staircase. Suddenly, she started screaming. You need to pay for what you've done. You killed Dad. You paralyzed Mom. You made Naoki sick, and now he's dead. Now all that's left is me and this burn. This burn that has never gone away after all these years. Naoki wanted to meet you again before he died. So now, it's time for you to set things right. It's time for you to meet Naoki face to face. Naoki can just tell you himself just how much he suffered. Together, you and I will dive into the depths of his ocean. The rope finally broke, but only my torso had been freed. My legs were still tied. I was able to turn around and look behind me. Where did you take Nami? The girl looked exactly like Nami, but she was staring up at the ceiling with a terrifying expression on her face. I don't know what sort of painful stuff you went through, but you were talking about something that happened when you were kids. Nami's done nothing wrong now. Who are you? What does it matter who I am? Where did you take Nami? That's none of your business. She thrust the wheelchair forward. Ah! I crashed down the stairs along with the wheelchair. My entire body was hit hard. When I looked up, I couldn't see her. I have to hurry. I've got to hurry and find Nami. I untied my legs, and even though it was painful, I forced myself to stand up. As I stood up, a key fell to the ground. Don't tell me this is... I headed off to the door where I'd been knocked unconscious while I tried to go through it. If Naomi thought that I was Nami in the wheelchair, that would mean that the real Nami is still alive. Nami, wait for me. I'm coming to save you. I stood in front of that unopened door. The spikes that had been driven into it had already been removed. I set the key in the lock, twisted it, and it unlocked. I pulled open the door. The room was a dreadful sight to behold. Was this where the fire Naomi was talking about had happened? Everything in the room had been burnt to a crisp. The walls were all solid black, and there was a gaping hole in the ceiling. The carpeting had been completely burned to ash. The wind was blowing through the broken glass windows. There was no sign of Nami. Naomi must have moved her, but in the center of the room was the mummy I had seen before, sitting in the wheelchair. Was this Nami's mom? Placed on her knees was the open diary she had been reading right before going unconscious. Something had been written on the last page. Mom, I'm going to take Nami to be with Naoki now. Be with Naoki? Where? At that moment, I remembered Naoki's final request. Let me sink to the bottom of my ocean. The aquarium! And at that moment, there was a huge sound. The room shook violently. What? What's happening? In a panic, I stepped back into the hall. I heard the sound of water from downstairs. I ran over and saw the figure of a person running down the stairs and out of sight. Then, I heard another explosion. The other side of the hall was well lit. It looked as though flames were coming up from the underground boiler room. But there was no time to deal with that now. I ran straight to the aquarium, rubbed the glass, and looked inside. There, in the murky water, I saw Nami's face. Nami! I struck the aquarium with both of my fists, but it didn't even budge. That's when I grabbed the axe that was hanging on the wall. I broke through the aquarium glass, and with a huge rush of water, out came Nami and a pile of white bones. I put my ear to Nami's mouth. She wasn't breathing. I placed my hand on her chest. No movement. Nami, this can't be happening. I pushed her chest hard, and a spurt of black water emerged from her mouth. However, she didn't spit out the water a way a living person might. It was like the water had been pushed out of her by a pump. Nami! I kept pushing her chest like crazy. Less water started coming out, and then nothing came out at all. Nami, I'll kiss you, so open your eyes. I held her head and started giving her mouth to mouth. Her lips were cold. I breathed as hard as I could to send air into Nami's lungs, but her body remained just as cold. Nothing had changed. Nami? Dead? No! It can't be. Please, open your eyes. I propped up Nami and shook her shoulders as hard as I could. Her body gave no resistance. She felt like a doll. I know what you're up to. I laughed at Nami. You're just closing your eyes, yeah? You're just always trying to get to me, and I always fall for it. You're just waiting for me to start crying so you can open your eyes and shout boo. Well, it's not going to work this time. I'm going to let you go now. I took my hands away from her shoulders. Nami's torso slumped to the ground like a mannequin. No, Nami, don't be like that. You always want to fool me, don't you? Well, you fooled me good. Look, you've even got me crying now. You did it. You won. You can start laughing now. Nami didn't even budge. I could barely see the bones scattered around her because of my tears. I don't know what happened with your brother, but why did you have to die, Nami? Damn it. I stood up and kicked away one of the bones. Bounced off the floor and rolled around. It was a skull. This skull. It had a long jaw and a line of sharp teeth. This skull isn't human. Must have been a dog or something. Don't tell me. Maybe she didn't have a brother after all. Could this have been another one of Naomi's delusions? I looked at Nami's cold face. How? Why did Nami have to die just because of her sister's sick fantasies? I'm gonna kill her. I stood up and ran into the hallway. But at some point, the fire had spread, and I couldn't get one step past the bathroom. I opened the door to the dining room. Nobody was there. I opened the door to the study. Nobody was there. I opened the door to the piano hall. Nobody was there. I ran up the stairs, but the hands of the flames had reached this far already, and I couldn't manage to continue down the hallway. I have to carry Nami out of here. I looked down from the second floor. I couldn't believe my eyes. Nami was gone. Did Nami come back to life? For a brief moment I was overjoyed, but then I considered another possibility. Could she have stolen Nami's corpse? No, there's no way. Nami must have come back to life, saw the fire, and ran. I kept telling myself that as I headed downstairs. The door at the entrance wouldn't open. Shit. I have to get out through the back at this rate. Yet the entrance hall was already completely covered in flames. There was nowhere to run. The smoke and hot wind started to envelop me. Was I going to burn to death in this house? No. Nami's alive. And there's no way I'm going to die here either. Suddenly, a gust of cold wind caressed the flames. I turned to face the wind blowing towards me. The fireplace had popped open. That's where the wind was coming from. The walls were starting to crumble. I jumped into the chimney. I squatted down inside and managed to fit through. It was pitch black inside and I couldn't see anything, but I could feel a narrow path stretching out in front of me. My hands searched the walls as I moved further down the path. Could Nami have gone through here too? Maybe when she was a kid she played in here, like it was a secret tunnel. That's what I thought. I imagined Nami squatting and moving down the same path, just ahead of me. Then I called out into the darkness. Nami! There was no reply. No, she's gotta be there. She's gotta be just ahead. The path had been leading out at a gradual slant until it started rising, and then suddenly I could see yellow flowers before my very eyes. This was the other side of the greenhouse. Why here, though? I looked over at the mansion and saw that the fire had already taken the second floor. Flames danced out of the broken windows. Oh! I saw someone enter the mansion from the back door. Was that Nami? I rushed over to see. But I tripped over something and fell. What I had tripped over was Nami. She was right there on the ground. But even though my foot had rammed into her, she hadn't budged. It has to be Nami. Hey, hold on. Put my ear to her chest. No movement. No, wait. Something moved just now. I listened harder, but I couldn't hear anything. No, that can't be right. Something moved. I heard it. I started pushing Nami's chest with both hands again. Nami, hurry up and open your eyes. Wake up already. I spoke to Nami ever so gently. Nami, it's time to go back. You need to get up. She didn't respond. What are you doing, Nami? If you don't hurry up, I'm leaving you behind. I brought my hands down on her chest forcefully. Made it all the way back here, didn't you? Why don't you go back to the way you were before? Wake up! But there was no response, so I thrust my hands down again on her chest and kept going. Nami, Nami! But it made no difference. Before I knew it, I wasn't even pushing down on her chest anymore, just lightly tapping her without any strength at all. Nami, how? Why? I dropped my face against Nami's chest in despair. Huh? Shocked, I pushed my ear down. Nami? Certain I could hear her heart beating. Nami? I started pushing against her chest again. With each push, I could see her breathe a little stronger, and the color started to return to her face. I screamed, Nami! She struggled to breathe and her eyelids moved. Ferky? Nami! I hugged her. I'm so glad, Nami. What happened to me? You're okay. You're gonna be just fine. I was overcome with tears. Oh, I remember. Naomi, my sister. Nami looked up at the burning mansion. It's on fire. Don't tell me. Nami had a dark look on her face. There was nothing I could do for her. I was totally focused on saving you. What about my brother, Naoki? What about him? There was no brother, Nami. That was just one of Naomi's delusions. You never had a brother. One of her delusions? She was lonely, so she made him up. The bones Naomi said were her brothers turned out to be the bones of a dog. You can't be serious. At that moment, I could hear crazed screaming coming from inside the mansion. Naoki! Naoki! My sister! Don't! We'd never make it to her in time. I stopped Nami, who had started to run towards the mansion. Naoki! At that instant, the mansion started to collapse, and the sound of it falling overpowered her scream. The mansion was done for. As I watched, the roof fell in and the stone walls crumbled away. It was as if Naomi's grudge had been the only thing that had kept the old place standing for as long as it did. And now, that grudge was buried under the rubble of the mansion, along with Naomi herself. My sister. Nami fell to her knees. Tears streamed from her eyes. To the side of Nami's face, lit up red by the fire of the burning rubble, I saw a single Hypericum swinging to and fro. So that was the first playthrough of Otogirisou. I have a lot of thoughts. I think I think one of the first ones, sort of like offhand, is it does the same thing that I feel a lot of visual novels do, which is like pad the runtime a bit with, but I also think that that's just like a stylistic thing, and maybe not like quote unquote padding the runtime so much as just that's just how stuff gets written. I felt creeped out. I'll be honest. It got dark as I was playing it, and there were a couple times where I was like checking over my shoulder and stuff like that. Creepy dolls. I think this is like a real triumph on the SNES in particular. And I think the Foley artists and I think the composers just did an absurdly good job. I think this stuff, I don't know, I'm not extremely well versed in SNES stuff. I'm not extremely well versed in visual novels and that kind of thing. But this really struck me as like not just being something interesting from a form perspective, with the idea of a sound novel, with the idea of, you know, images, a lot of text, some choices here and there. Could have done with more choices. Try again. Is there a good ending? I bet there is. Oops. I'm bashing every key right now. Maybe it's start. Maybe it's select. No, that's interesting too. That it's not that's it. Yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's wise here. I think this is a good place to stop. I really didn't expect this to be such a like meaningful game. Maybe that's on me for not for thinking that it'd be something more trivial. I'm really impressed by this game. I'm probably gonna run through it with some friends now that there's more things open. I think that's a neat thing to do for sure. When it comes to the friends who stopped by today, thank you for stopping by. If you want to play this game yourself, it was translated from... You'd think I'd know my own commands. It was translated from the original Japanese, ROM hacked into English by Joe over at, and a whole team over at translated.games. If you don't want to put it together, it was packaged up by CD Romance, which I really, really appreciate. And yeah, I really love this. I think this was a deeply cool game. I think the story definitely had more of its share of moments. And I really would suggest this to anyone. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for, letting me do this. Happy Text Adventure Tuesday. It's been a while, and I'm honestly really happy that we got to play something super, super different. I've got a few things coming down the pipe. I've got a really fundamental hypertext. I've got a couple things that I'm really, really excited about. So I'm hopefully gonna be doing more stuff pretty regularly, and I hope to see you around to see it. Let's see who's doing stuff. Robot Spacer is doing stuff, so that's fun. Robot Spacer was hanging out. But I think Yeah. Let's go hang out with Robot Spacer. Again, thank you all so much for hanging out. Robot Spacer is actually in chat right now. So let's raid them. So we're going to raid out. Robot Spacer is a very kind person. I appreciate them. They're playing a game. They're playing Deja Vu, which is sort of horror-y. All right. Well, thank you again. Definitely hang out.